Hello. Hello. Hello world. Sitting there messing around here. Hello you beautiful people. Another beautiful day. Saturday, huh? Time flies. What's today? The 7th of what? May? Alright. Okay, let's get down to business. Remember all those videos I tried to tell you I made where I was trying to explain to you about the situation between Sony and Square? Are they like partners in crime? Peanut butter and jelly, bread and butter, ice cream with cake. You know what I'm saying? That's Sony and Square, right? So last year on April the 10th, they had put a time exclusive. Put a time exclusive on Final Fantasy VII Remake. So April 10th, 2020 to April 10th, 2021. That's a year, right? All right. So you would have thought that the Xbox and PC would have got the Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Okay. You know, on PlayStation 4 you can play Final Fantasy VII Remake, but on Xbox One you can't play it because of the time exclusive. So within that one year time exclusive, they came up with another character called Yuffie or Luffy, and they added her to the story. So now they add another situation to Final Fantasy VII where they call it the Integrate, right? So it's been almost a year now, and still no Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Xbox. Well, I guess the Xbox fans are gonna have to wait a little while longer. Remember when I was trying to explain the situation with the Avengers and Spider-Man and Sony and Square and what they like to do? Okay, listen to what they did in this one. Listen to this. It says here. Let me go to Gamers Rant first. This article is even more better. I got two articles, one from Gamers Rant and one from Eurogamer. Listen to this. Sony and Square, man. Remember, Squaresoft put PlayStation on the map with Final Fantasy VII because when the PlayStation was out, it wasn't getting any traction. It wasn't until that fallout with Square and Nintendo that's when Sony and Square became partners with that old Final Fantasy situation, right? Okay. So listen to this. Final Fantasy VII Remake PlayStation exclusivity extended. So this is called Sony's Final. The title of this video is called Sony's Final Fantasy VII Remake Publicity Stunt, because that's what this is. Okay, but anyway, it says here Final Fantasy VII Remake PlayStation exclusivity extended. With the advent of Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, the exclusivity for the game on the PlayStation has been pushed further out. It says here, this on Eurogamer by the way, it says here Final Fantasy VII Remake has been relatively well received by new and old players alike, with the one caveat being the PlayStation exclusivity. However, with the game making the jump to the PS5 with improved graphics and performance, the console will also retain the exclusivity rights for Final Fantasy VII Remake for at least 6 months. Another 6 months. This is frustrating for fans of the game not operating in the PlayStation landscape, who have been patiently waiting the Final Fantasy VII Remake's exclusivity to run out. It was announced that the PC version would receive the integrated version that is being received on the PlayStation 5. However, no date was ever determined. Right. It appears there was a reason behind that delay, as Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate on the PlayStation 5 has renewed said exclusivity behind the scenes. Meaning this was meaning that it was planned. Okay, Sony and Square planned this. Okay, anyway, says here the announcement of the exclusivity was put at the end of the final trailer for the PS5 release, after demonstrating some of the latest features coming to the game, such as the Fort Condor minigame and Yuffie scenario, not Luffy. The release date was displayed along with the exclusivity being marked at the end of the trailer. While the message stated it would be released on the PlayStation 5 6 months earlier than any other system, it did not provide any extra information as to when and where it would release next. That means this was planned. Okay, Sony and Square planned this behind closed doors. Okay, they had this planned. Okay, it's funny. It's funny that there were other time exclusive when Final Fantasy VII got the. You know what? Let me hold that thought. Let me keep going. Says here, Final Fantasy VII Remake has been hailed among critics and players as an excellent successor to the original PlayStation 1 game. While not following previous story exactly as originally fans might prefer, the game has still endeared itself to most players. Then it says here, the exclusivity has become a sour. No, wait a minute. The exclusivity has become a sore subject for many gamers. While helpful for developers, it can often mean gamers will miss out on a release or two. While this isn't anything new to PC gamers that have been locked out from certain console release, Horizon Zero Dawn and other titles have given players hope. With this announcement of a release being pushed back, disappointment continues to linger for any players without a PlayStation 5. With an announcement release date of June 10th, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate looks to add many features and additional content that players should be excited to experience. As for now, the game will remain in the PlayStation landscape until at least December, when further decisions will be made. Owners of the PlayStation 4 version will be able to move directly to Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate if they own a PlayStation 5 at no extra cost. Okay, let me read the other article on Eurogamer. Listen to this. And by the way, I'm gonna leave the video in both articles in the description box, so you can read it for yourself. Anyway, next article says here, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. This is on Eurogamer.net. Says Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate exclusive to PS5 for at least 6 months. New trailer shows off fresh gameplay. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is exclusive to PS5 for at least 6 months. A new trailer for the game is confirmed. The trailer below includes over 3 minutes of footage of the Integrate, the visual enhanced edition of the original, featuring a brand new Yuffie episode. Says here, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate comes out on the 10th June, so the earliest we did see this version of the game on other platform, PC and Xbox for example, would be the 10th December, or perhaps Integrate is also coming to PlayStation 4. Final Fantasy VII Remakes comes out on PS4 on April 10th, 2020, last year. That's over a year ago, so you imagine the exclusivity deal between Sony and Square Enix for the game would be over by now. It makes sense that Final Fantasy VII Remake would launch in Integrate form on Xbox Series X and S and PC when the time is right, this Christmas question mark, spring 2022, comma, perhaps. And it says here, as for the trailer itself, it shows off Fort Condor, the strategy mini game from the original Final Fantasy. There's also more than a bit of Dirge, Cerberus, you know, Cerberus here with Nero the Sable, the antagonist of the third-person shooter Final Fantasy VII spin-off, showing up. But anyway, what I was trying to say is this: it amazes me when Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII remake, Final Fantasy VII remake, the exclusivity, and the other games that was a part of that exclusivity, like the Modern Warfare 2s. I think it was the Call of Duties, and I think there's one more game. But it amazes me that the time exclusive on those games ran out, and people were able to play the games, right? People that own an Xbox. But the time exclusive on Final Fantasy VII didn't really run out. This was planned, okay? This was all part of, like the Joker said in The Dark Knight, it's all part of the plan, okay? That's the dryer. Anyway, it's all part of the plan. So Sony and Square planned this, okay? They started the time exclusive April 10th, 2020 last year. And now we're in May 7th, 2021. So that's like a year and about what? Let's see, the 10th, in about 27 days, right? About a year and 27 days. And still no Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Xbox. This was planned, and this was deliberately done, okay? Because they did this because they want attention, they want traction, okay? Because Microsoft really stole the spotlight when you really look at it. They came up with the ZeniMax Bethesda deal. That was huge. That was huge. But then you came up with Game Pass, right? That was another huge. That was huge. But the ultimate dagger is when you brought the entire iOS fan base over to play Xbox games on Game Pass. So Sony now, they're stuck in no man's land, because they're struggling with PlayStation now because of the whole backwards compatible thing, which means the article that I did when they talking about they're doing a PlayStation Slim, that new PlayStation that's coming out, PlayStation 5, it might be fully backwards compatible, so it might be able to help out the PS5. But anyway, Microsoft got Sony beat with the backwards compatibility. So Microsoft got some things going for them, and Sony is like right now stuck in no man's land with nothing going. So the only thing they got going right now is probably not nothing going. The only thing they probably got going right now is probably like Spider-Man 2 that's in development, and probably a new God of War probably coming, and probably a new Horizon Zero Dawn. But they're not gaining any traction. So what they did was deliberately they did this extension of the time exclusive because they want some traction coming their way. Because right now Microsoft with that Game Pass and gaming on iOS devices and gaming on the go on your cell phones with Game Pass and all that is stealing the entire spotlight. so Sony did this as a way to get some traction for themselves. But for where I'm standing with this whole Final Fantasy thing, you know, I guess it comes out when it comes out. You know, it comes when it comes. You know, if they're gonna extend it, okay, fine. You know, but if December gets here within what month is this? January, February, March, April, May. We're in May, right? Another 7 months we gotta wait before we see the light. We even see the light of a Final Fantasy remake on Xbox. But the question is, will the time exclusivity ends there? They might even come up with another scenario and make the Xbox fans wait again. So it's just Sony and Square up to their usual tricks. Okay, that's what they're doing with this Final Fantasy time exclusive thing. But Microsoft right now, they got a lot of things going for them. They're good with their backwards compatibility. They got the iOS fans playing meaning Apple, playing Xbox games, and that ZeniMax Bethesda deal hurt, and plus the games under those IPs. So they got all kind of stuff going right now. So this won't hurt the Xbox fans Like, they think it's gonna hurt the Xbox fans, but it's gonna make them look bad if they even extend it again after December. If they try to extend it again, then they might as well keep the game. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's what they need to do, because right now they're just doing this to get some attention, to gain some traction coming their way, because Microsoft has been stealing the spotlight with the moves they've been making, you know. So Sony and Square had this plan. You already seen what they did with the Avengers. You already seen what they did with the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? And how that's going. It's just Sony and Square up to their usual tricks. Anyway, I'm gonna leave a link in the description box with these 2 articles plus the video. Put the video at the top of the 2 articles at the bottom. And nice talking to you people again. Chris, it's still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. For Dark Side. Gone. Peace.